Welcome to the channel if you're new. I'm Kerry Kendall and this is the first Q&A sort of session video. I don't know if there's going to be a series of these or this is just going to be a one-off, but we'll see how it goes. So, if you've read the books, you'll probably know that the Brock is like a key structure in the story, since it is all of the main characters' home. I've been asked quite a lot what a Brock is. I completely understand if you don't know, because even in archaeology today there isn't much research done about them. It's getting better, but we still don't really know what they are, what they were built for. Obviously there's theories, many theories. I'm not going to go into all that right now. I'm just going to tell you basically what a Brock is as a standard structure. So mainly found in the Highlands of Scotland. They are predominantly just a Scottish structure. You don't find them anywhere else on the British Isles. They're Iron Age. They are made from dry stone and it's a hollow-walled structure. They have a single entrance and a spiral staircase in between the hollowed out walls that wind upwards, and this connects all of the galleries, which is quite similar to what I've kept in the book. I have made it very fanciful. Trust me, if you visited a Brock, they don't quite look how I've described them, shall I say, in the book, but I've tried to keep the basics, shall we say. So Brocks can vary from 5 to 15 metres in internal diameter, and they have pretty much mostly 3 metre thick walls. Keep them nice and toasty in winter, because I imagine it must have been freezing back in the day living in those. So also I've been asked a lot, does my book take place mainly in the Iron Age? It's kind of a complicated answer, to be honest. The book is a massive mashup of all the way from Iron Age to quite, say, about 15th century medieval period, so quite late. So although Finn and the Nimrods, obviously there are Nimrods from other places on the Isles, but the ones that you mainly meet in the book refer to themselves as the Picts, which obviously were only around really in the Iron Age. But sorry, I'm referring to my notes here. Yeah, but even then, even they live in the Brock, they refer to the Brock as being an ancient structure. So, even though they are from a time period which is the Iron Age, they're not actually living in the Iron Age, if you understand what I mean. I don't know if I've explained myself very well there, but I also refer to the invaders, which would have been the Romans at the time, but that will go into a lot more detail in the 7th book, but it's only very briefly mentioned in the earlier books. Even though the Isles is split up into the Anglo-Saxon kingdoms, I wouldn't say the whole of the Isles is living in this time period. Really, how I imagine it the most is that they're living in between like the 12th to the 14th century. That's when market towns and places like that were really becoming a thing in Britain. So yeah, as I say, it's a massive mashup. Don't take it, because obviously it is a fantasy. I've taken pieces of what I know of history and made it into, yeah, just a mashup of time periods. So it is, to sum up basically, all the books are just a massive mashup of between what will be the when the Romans came and invaded Britain, all the way up to 14th, 15th century. So quite a massive time period. I've also been asked, because obviously how I've designed the map, it would correlate with the actual time. So I think I should really know this, but I think it's 1034 is when I begin the books. There is a reason why I've picked that date, but I don't really want to go into it just yet because it's kind of going to spoil how the end of the book finishes. So yeah, I can't really give too much away, but the only thing I can say is it's a very important time in Anglo-Saxon Britain. So if you know your history, you probably can work it out, but I don't want to say too much. So another thing I've been asked about is the languages. I didn't hire a linguist or anything like that. This has all been my own personal research. I've only learned the basics of, I think it's 5 languages I use in the book. So yeah, I understand that there might be spelling errors and things like that because I'm not native to these. I don't know these languages off by heart, and some of them are dead languages like Old English. But obviously I've learned them to the best of my abilities and try to get the best sources I can. But at the end of the day, it's a fantasy novel, so don't take all these languages to heart. But obviously I've tried to get it as accurate as I can when I can. So the first language you probably come across is Old English, which all the magic spells and such, which I think you come across first with Finn when he uses his wind spell, Brugdan. I think that's how you pronounce it. Yeah, so but that's used throughout, like that's what Gwen uses to summon her demons, to send them away. Basically anything to do with magic will be Old English. The next is probably Scottish Gaelic, or Gaelic. Probably said that completely wrong. Which is obviously used by Finn and all the Nimrods. Farsi, which I think is only very briefly used in the first book, but obviously gets more and more predominant as you find more about Gwen's past. This has been the most difficult language because obviously they don't use our alphabet, so I've had to learn a completely new alphabet as well as a different language, which is very difficult. But again, I've only really learnt the basics, so I understand if there may be errors with my Farsi. But that is, if you're curious, it's Persian dialect. And as well, not as much, but I've used a bit of Welsh and Irish, but that's again in the later books. I think the 4th one is probably the only one that really uses Welsh and Irish. But so I didn't really go into as much detail as I have done with Scottish Gaelic. That's probably that and Old English is what I've gone into the most detail with. And what else have I been asked? Oh, sorry. My inspiration. God, this I could go into a whole video on this alone, to be honest. Dreams, mainly, to be honest. A lot of my ideas come from my dreams, and I just pad them out into a full story, which later on I have a a horror book that I'd like to write, which is purely, completely and utterly from a single dream I had that I can't get out of my head. So we'll see. It's going to be very different. It's got nothing to do with times of change, so I won't go into it too much. But yeah, so dreams, places I've been around the world that have inspired me in some way or another. Music, photos, films, books. I could go on forever, to be honest. I've been asked as well about a lot of the music that I listen to. That I do have a playlist on this channel, but it's private because obviously it's other people's music and I didn't really want to advertise that, but I can make it public if anybody's interested in exactly what kind of music I listen to and when I listen to such music for like different chapters because of different things that are going on. But yeah, just let me know if you want to listen to it, have a look, and I can make that public. That's not a problem. I've been asked something similar as well about my drawings, where if I listen to music or things like that, it's pretty much the same as my writing, to be honest. It's only when I've only done one model that I've just had the TV on in the background, because I don't know, modelling is very different demon to painting or drawing, because you can only do little bits at a time. So I find just having the TV on in the background of whatever's on is a lot better for that, because then you don't get into it so much, because yeah, modelling you can only do little tiny bits at a time. You can't just do like a full 2-hour session. So I think that's about the only thing different. Again, I listen to the same sort of music when I'm drawing to when I'm writing, because I associate certain songs with certain chapters or certain characters. So if I'm drawing that certain character from a certain scene, I'll probably be listening to the same music that I wrote to. And last of all, I've been asked a bit about my dancing. I didn't really realise that I wrote a lot about dancing, to be honest. Yeah, I don't know, it used to be a very big factor in my life. I used to love to dance. I don't really do it so much. Definitely don't do it as much as I would like to, but you know, life changes, things happen. Maybe that's why I put Gwen as quite into dancing, because I don't know, maybe I'm living through her. I haven't really thought about it too much. But an interesting question I was asked, like, would older people in history dance because they wanted to, or was it always like a ritual kind of thing? Which I've never thought about before, to be honest, because we haven't changed that much. Our technology and everything's changed, but basically we're still the same species. So yeah, sure, people would have danced if they wanted to. We've got recorded things in history, like well, in the British Isles, just for starters, they have ceilidhs in Scotland, and it's just basically a big piss up, and you just dance. And whereas we have the maypole in England, which is awful, a terrifying thing. If you're interested, look it up. But I find the whole thing a bit midsummer, to be honest. Obviously, you've got the Irish jig, very famous, like river dance and things like that. Made it probably more in the greater world known about Irish dancing. Also, when I was looking this up, because I couldn't think of any Welsh dances, apparently clog dancing is the famous Welsh dancing. Yeah, didn't know much about that. That's what the Welsh do. And belly dancing obviously originates from Egypt. Wasn't a ritual thing, it was just that's how people danced. Originally it was the folk, just like folk dancing of like the maypole dancing, but we just named it belly dancing. It came from the French translation, and I could go into a whole video on that alone, but yeah, sorry it's a bit quick and a bit. It's very difficult with these broad questions to go through them in one video because each question alone you can do a video each. But I hope that answers a few questions that you may have had. Let me know if you would like for me to go into any more detail and possibly make another video. But yeah, I think that's it. This was dedicated to Jasmine, just as a thanks for all of the promotion you've been doing for me. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed. But if anybody else has any questions, I can yeah, either answer in the comments below, or you can message me, or I can do another video. Completely up to you. So thanks for watching. Bye.